It's time to update your bets for the Masters round 2 on Friday, and we saw some interesting things on Thursday. Very different endings for Rory McIlroy and Scottie Scheffler. Who are you picking this weekend? Who else on that leaderboard has good value? We have all previews and predictions for round 2 at the Masters, with Justin Rose sitting at top right now, his 5th time leading the Masters after the first round. He's never won before. Will Gray, Chris Brees, Casey Johnson. Guys, this leaderboard is awesome. A lot to talk about. Will, first thoughts about tomorrow heading into Friday?
Yeah, quite an interesting day here in Augusta. Maybe a more interesting last hour or two as Rory McIlroy rode the roller coaster in a big way. And now everyone's chasing Justin Rose, but it does feel like Scottie Scheffler has yet to wobble. So the field has thinned, and maybe not as considerably as we thought. I know we're going to get into some of those historical trends that really show that this is a front runner's race here at Augusta National, but it was definitely an interesting afternoon. It's more so than the morning.
All right, let's do Scottie and Rory. Man, Rory, that's 7 on 15. Let's just call it like it is, Will. Did he demoralize himself? Did he have those pretzel moments that you talked about the other day? Or can this guy actually come back and forget about the last 4 holes?
Well, I will cede offering my opinion. I will instead shine light on what Jack Nicklaus said this morning in the interview room after hitting one of the honorary tee shots. He said that he had lunch with Rory McIlroy a couple weeks ago, and they went through his entire game plan for Augusta National. Rory explained it to him shot by shot, and Jack said, "I didn't say a word. It was the exact game plan that I would use here at Augusta. The problem is," Jack said, "Rory will sometimes stumble into a 7 or an 8, and it derails him. And lo and behold, here we go, chipping in the water on 15, makes a 7, compounds his error with a sloppy double. Then on 17, it's amazing. You know, our colleague Jamie Kennedy had the screen grab. Rory's standing in the middle of the 15th fairway after bombing a drive, and he's at 4 under, and he doesn't break par today. I think demoralizing is the word I would go with. And listen, he was doing everything right for 14 and a half holes, and then it came undone so quickly, as it often does here at Augusta National. You guys know my stance on Rory and winning this week or winning the Masters in general, and I have no reason to stray at this point.
So these odds are too low. Way too low.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Maybe can he get into the top 5? Yes. Would I bet it at plus 210? Probably not, because he does. I mean, listen, this is a quick turnaround, right? The way that these tee times are set up, he's going to be back on the course very quickly. He opted not to speak to the media after his round, and I think that just like he's not going to try and make up 7 shots on Justin Rose tomorrow, he's probably got to work it in chunks and try and make up 2 or 3 and get a little bit closer and a little bit closer to give himself a chance. But yeah, I think that last 4.5 holes have really just sunk his battleship.
Yeah, Will, I got to tell you, I had a double take when I saw he's plus 1,200 live to win. I was like, did they see these holes I just finished? And I know it's Rory, and there's probably some money coming in, but I mean, 12-1 after what we just saw, and the deficit he's got. Chris, we spoke about it yesterday. Rory's first rounds in majors, especially in the Masters. He's got 2 sub-70 first rounds at the Masters since 2011, I believe it is. Another one that doesn't check the box today. But here's my take. That was some classic Rory back nine Sunday of a major. Okay, maybe he got it out of the way on Thursday, and he's like, you know what? I still got 3 rounds. I'm still in this thing. He always blows it when there's no time to come back. He's got 3 more days to battle back from it. Maybe he got his blow up out of the way on Thursday, and we see him battle back a bit. But I think we're going to know through the first, 3 to 5 holes tomorrow where his mental's at.
But I think, guys, remember, this was the whole exam for him. Rory was the guy coming into the opening round where it's like you just need him to not shoot himself out of this tournament, as he has often done on Thursday, whether it's 73, 75, 77, what have you. And he did it. He had it on a silver platter sitting there, not only, someone that was chipping away at 1 or 2 under. He was right in the mix, and for it to just fall apart so quickly it was shocking, and I really think it's going to be a gut punch for him.
It's that 75 they always talk about, right? Rory always has a random 75 in a major, and let's be honest, it felt like a 75 today.
Yes.
It didn't feel like a 72. In case you're absolutely right. We'll know by the turn tomorrow morning if Rory McIlroy's in this thing. He's going to be 2 over, or he's going to be 3 under. What do you think?
Yeah, and I got to tell you, if we're basing it off of how he reacts to bad holes, today was not a good sign. I mean, it took a swing on 15, and it seemed like his whole world fell apart. It was one swing, and all of a sudden, from there, he was a completely different golfer than he was from the entire start of the day. It's concerning to see when we know it's such a mental thing with Rory at Augusta. For the mentals to already be creeping in this early, not a great sign. But again, maybe he got it out of the way early, and he's got 3 days to kind of battle back and shake that off. Remains to be seen.
All right, Will, what about Scheffler? The books already basically have him winning at plus 200. There's plenty of big names around him, and there's 3 days to go, and we all know how this can change no matter how good Scottie Scheffler can be. Is there anything in your mind that tells you that Scheffler is going to regress in the next 3 days? Because I personally didn't think he hit the ball that great today. He's not going to keep making 50-foot putts. Is he going to get better off the green, though?
Chris, if you didn't love Scottie Scheffler at plus 400, if you didn't like him at 400 before the tournament, you're going to love him at plus 200 here after the opening round. Listen, for me, it's more just a clean scorecard. He's the only one that made it around Augusta National today without making a bogey. And so, yeah, if he plays 72 holes, doesn't make a bogey, I'm pretty sure he can keep that green jacket. But you're right. It wasn't one of those rounds that really jumped off the page like we saw with Rory early on. I know Akshay had things going, Ludvig Aberg. There were some guys that had 4, 5, 6 hole stretches where you're like, wow, it's really coming together. Scottie just kind of was very methodical, as we've seen so often from him. And the difference between him and Rory is he was missing in the right spots. Scottie also hit it long on 15, where we saw Patrick Cantlay make a mess. But what does Scottie do? He chips it up short. He makes a 2-putt. Does he make a birdie on a birdie hole? No, but he lives to fight another day. And that's really where I think the difference lies between a 2-time Masters champion and guys that are chasing their first green jacket. Is you have to know, and Tiger has talked about this so often about this course, where to hit the gas and go for the birdies, but more often than not, the key is missing in the right spots. That's what Scottie did today, and that's what a lot of the other contenders were unable to do.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of on the same page of really the bogey-free round is what's catching my eye. But, Chris, when you talk about the regression, I think it kind of catches my eye in that regard. May need a fact check here. I believe that was Scottie's just his second round bogey-free at the Masters.
Wow.
So, history says that in some form or fashion, he's going to regress a little bit, right? Like there's going to be some bogeys that start finding their way on that card. Does that line up with more birdies as well? So, interested to see where he plays out. It doesn't feel like a give it a Scottie kind of week yet. Could feel like that come tomorrow afternoon, though.
He's down by 3, and he's plus 200. The guy who's leading, Will, is Justin Rose getting enough respect, or have we seen this too many times where he gets these leads 5 times now? The odds are saying he's still got a ways to go, even if he's leading after the second round tomorrow, almost even money at plus 150. What do you think about Rose realistically? Let's just start with tomorrow. What do you expect from him tomorrow?
The thing with Justin Rose is I don't think he's going to go away. I think that you could have some guys that we've seen, no offense to Charlie Hoffman, but he's a guy that comes up often in, Masters first round leader markets. He's spiked it before and then kind of fades off. I don't think Justin Rose is going to go away. I think he's going to be in the mix throughout the rest of this weekend. And I do think the plus 700 is an interesting number. I would have loved to have been on the, 70, 80 to 1 pre-tournament before he went and shot lights out and puts up a 65 to move ahead of the pack. But I do think that looking at this board and looking at a player of his history, remember, we're 8 years removed from him having one arm in the green jacket before losing the playoff to Sergio Garcia. He's already a major champion, and he has played really well in 2 of the last 3 majors, T6 at Valhalla, T2 at Royal Troon. It was interesting listening to him in the interview room today after his round, and he's talking about at age 44, he kind of feels freed up. He says, listen, the headlines of my career are already written: Olympic champion, major champion, Ryder Cup hero, world number 1. He feels like he's done enough, and it gives him a little bit of freedom to go and chase what would really just be icing on the cake, and certainly a tournament that he wants to win. But it's kind of an interesting mentality, interesting position for him to be in. I don't think he's going to be really scared of Scottie Scheffler. He said that he takes notice of what Scheffler's doing, but it's not something that really impacts his mentality on the course. And I just think that the game that he has shown in majors recently and at Augusta historically really shapes up well for him to stay in this thing.
Well, that's a good spiel. I mean, the him being a little more freed up
but you're not buying it.
It's a great point. But he almost sold me. I was getting close there. Like, am I gonna flip? But no, we're standing firm. Justin Rose is going to go away. I think we find out early tomorrow too. Will, you make a good point. Like, it's not as much as the mental game with Rory that he's dealing with, and that, he's trying to get this career Grand Slam, and he knows the history here. Rose is what he is now at this point. If he loses this Masters, that's not going to be a huge dent on his resume for his full career. It'll be, another first round lead that he got. So I do like that take of his mental being a little more freed up, but it's the Masters. We got some big names up there. We got some big names lurking. I'm interested to see, similar to Rory, his first couple holes, because I was ready to come in here strong and say I think we see some bogeys, maybe even a double very early on for Justin Rose. But you know what? Will selling me a bit here. Let me ride the first couple of holes out, and we can revisit this conversation.
Ride it for one day, and then you can just throw it away.
I will say, Chris, going back to what Casey said with the doubles, that's something I really want to keep an eye on, and something that goes back to Rory. Great stat from Brandel Chambly entering this week that if you go back over the last 40 years, an eventual Masters champion has made a double bogey at any point in the tournament only 6 times, and that includes the Scottie Scheffler 4-putt on the last hole that basically was inconsequential in 2022. So if you look at Rory already having 2, that's a really big disqualifier, and something to keep an eye on as we move forward in this tournament is you just cannot afford to make a double bogey. You're going to make bogeys. You're going to hit bad shots. Balls are going to bounce in every which way, but the key is keeping those double boxes off the scorecard, and that's going to be a big factor for Rose and the other leaders in the sport.
Did you guys see the stat? I think it was the last champion to make a 7 was Craig Stadler. Did you guys see that one?
Yes. Yeah. 82. Not great for Rory.
No, but that just gives more boxes for Rory to check historically this week if he does it, right?
That's the narrative. Some more boxes. He's got to stick to it. That's the storyline, right? What I think is the coolest stat this week is the winner of the Masters, the last 21 years after the first day, is almost always inside the top 10, tied for 10 or better. The only person in the last 21 years is Tiger Woods, outside of the top 10. Every other champion has been on this first page of the leaderboard. There's a caveat here, though, Will. Obviously, we have a lot of guys, although this is 10, because there's a bunch of guys at 1 under par who are 11th. Do you think, so this is a perfect scenario here, do you think the winner is absolutely on this page, or do we go down the list of 1 million guys in 11th place who might have a chance?
It's not 1 million, but it's more than maybe the statisticians would like. I do think if you look back, Tiger in 2005 is really the outlier that we're working around. He was like T33 and went on to beat Chris DeMarco in a playoff. Justin Ray had a good stat after the round where he had 18 of the last 19 have been within 4 shots of the lead. So if you look at it from that perspective, you're going down to the T5 group with Bryson and Tyrrell Hatton. But I think a lot of it hinges on Justin Rose, right? If he goes out tomorrow and shoots anything in the 60s and puts, plants the flag at 10 under or double digits, that board's going to shorten in a hurry. If he comes back to the field and now all of a sudden the lead is essentially 4 under, or maybe you give Scheffler a little bit more of an advantage, then the guys at 1 under that include some really interesting names are still going to feel like they're going to be in the mix. So it is a very tidy 16-way tie for 11th at 1 under. You can kind of throw a dart and pick someone in that group and have something to talk about. But by and large, this is a front runner's golf course. This is a place where it's just hard to play catch up. And I had a chance to talk to Justin Rose and Scheffler about this. Jason Day had some great comments of just the mental tax of trying to be in chase mode at Augusta National for 54 holes is so strong that it eventually will wear on you. And a lot of the guys that I talked to put more emphasis on that element than necessarily the physical demands of the golf course and the course getting harder and more difficult as the weekend progresses.
Yeah, well, I agree. Like you said, this is going to come down to how Rose plays. If we get, guys into that 1 under group getting in the mix, that 1 under group, like you said, it's very deep, which kind of helps with this stat that maybe this is the year it could break up a little bit. But like you said, with that gap where Rose is, after that, that whole T11 group, with the 20, whatever it is, 25, 26 guys, they're all within 4 shots of each other. So really you're getting rid of that really big chase element. And I think when you see Rory, like we mentioned at the, plus 1200, I think the books think that obviously Justin Rose is going to come back down to earth a little bit and not keep staying out there, because Rory wouldn't be 7 back at Augusta and be plus 1200. So it's going to be interesting what Rose does tomorrow. That's part of it too. I think it makes it more interesting he comes back to earth, because yes, the chase element at Augusta is brutal, but there's not too much of a chase right now with a big grouping at the top of that leaderboard in those first 4 shots. Obviously could change very quickly, but should be interesting to see a lot of different variables at play that could change up how these odds look at the end of tomorrow.
You guys, I count 5 major champions at 1 under par, 6 if you include Fred Couples. Yes, it's 6. With Fred Couples. All those major champions. Victor Hovland has won the FedEx. Daniel Berger knows how to win. Minwoo Lee just won. I'm naming some more guys you may think are out of it, but there are a lot of players who are under par. And Will, we've been saying the records are made to be broken. Obviously, it has a lot to do with the 2 guys up top here, Rose and Scheffler, what they do tomorrow and maybe even on Saturday. I mean, realistically, if these guys are going to continue to play good golf, you think these guys who are in 11th place right now might be 8 shots off the lead by Saturday?
Well, I mean, if you're at 1 under right now and you're gonna win the golf tournament, you're gonna have to go low tomorrow, right? So let's figure that the lead tomorrow at some point is around 10 under or thereabouts. If I'm at 1 under, I need to get to 5. I need to get to 6. I need to cut into that gap, whether it's Justin Rose or one of these guys at 4 under, putting the pedal to the metal. So it's a 2-part equation in that regard. I will say I do want to give Fred Couples some flowers at age 65. The number 2, 3, and 4 players. So only at Augusta, hooping 6-iron hybrid strange things have and will continue to happen.
Death taxes and Freddie Couples around one of the Masters. You gotta love it. Well, I'm curious your thoughts on one thing you said. If someone wants to get back in this mix that, not 400, not 300, in that 1 under range, they're gonna have to go low tomorrow. We're hearing a lot on the broadcast about how this is like an all-time weather out there in Augusta. It's gorgeous out. Heard Scottie talking about the greens already being a bit firm. Just from a boots-on-the-ground perspective, like, do you think that's going to be out there? Like, is it chasing conditions between the course and the weather and everything that's coming together?
Tomorrow is the big question mark with the weather. The forecast shows that there's some rain. It's hard to tell right now. Overnight, maybe into the morning hours, it does look like there are going to be some winds that are going to kick up a little bit more than what we saw today. We're seeing some forecasts in the 15 to 20 mile an hour range, which is really going to change things in a big way, depending on what part of the field has to deal with that. If it's the Rose and Rory group that's going to be out early, or if it's more of the late guys. So we'll have a better feel for it when we're the sun is rising and we know what's going on tomorrow. But I think that after Friday, it is just going to be like the weather we saw today, kind of a Chamber of Commerce day. And I was surprised this morning. The course was pretty soft underground, and then as the day went on, it just really baked out, and it was especially evident, I think, in some of those new greens. 1, 8, 15, and 16. We've heard a lot of guys talking about it. 15 came into play in a big way between Rory and Patrick Cantlay and Scheffler, as we discussed. Those are greens that Augusta National totally redid entering this year's Masters. They are a little bit firmer, it seems, than some of the others as they're starting to grow in. And so I think especially 15, as you get that pin on the left over the weekend that we've all come to know and love in those historical Masters moments, man, that target is going to get so small of where you can hit and still keep it on the green and not have it roll over and face some of those really tricky chips. So the firmness of the greens is definitely going to be a storyline. I think tomorrow is the day to keep an eye on the weather. If there's going to be an impact, it's going to be felt tomorrow, and then it's all downhill to the finish line for the weekend.
13 was playing close to par today too. It was like 4.9 something strokes for the first time in a very long time. So it's very different out there. We hope this helped. Everybody updating their bets for Friday at the Masters. And, of course, we'll be back tomorrow after the cut to talk more about the 2025 Masters.